Join us on an exciting trip through the 10 world's most expensive places to live, where the cost of living index is the key to unmatched luxury. All of these places, from the famous skylines of financial hubs to the peaceful beaches of paradises, invite you into a world where luxury is normal. The cost of living for people around the world has gone up because inflation is at its highest level in recent years. In this video, experts rank the countries based on their cost of living. High taxes, wages, food, housing, and transportation costs can contribute to a high cost of living. But keep in mind that even if a country's cost of living is high, some places in that country may not be that expensive, or the other way around. In addition, these countries have high standards of living and wages that are pretty good. In the world, these are the 10 most expensive places to live. Number 1. Japan. Japan is known for having expensive places to live, especially Tokyo, which is always in the top 10 most expensive towns in the world. Rent is a big part of living costs in Japan. Owning a car and getting around are the next biggest costs. But life in Japan doesn't have to cost a lot. Depending on where you live, you can control how much it costs. In Japan's biggest cities, like Tokyo and Osaka, the average monthly cost of living for a single person can be around $2,900, which includes housing. However, the country has a very stable economy and is known for its high-tech conveniences. Universal public healthcare ensures that everyone in Japan is automatically covered, so medical bills rarely put people in a tough spot. Number 2. Monaco. Monaco is the most luxurious place in France. It is right in the middle of the French Riviera. This tiny country has a reputation for being one of the most expensive places in the world. Its luxurious homes, the bright lights of the Monte Carlo casino, and the draw of royalty and celebrities from around the world all contribute to this reputation. The absence of income tax and the popularity of the principalities among millionaires contribute to driving property values to very high levels due to the lack of space. Living costs are very high. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is a huge $4,200 to $4,800 a month. The average cost of living for a single person, which includes rent and all utilities, is about $6,900 a month. Number 3. This is Denmark. Everything in Denmark is expensive, from eating out to buying groceries to gas. The good news is that wages are higher in Denmark compared to other countries, which makes up for the high cost of living there. Copenhagen, the country's capital, is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Life outside of Copenhagen isn't as expensive, but it's still not cheap. Ireland is number 4. If you compare Ireland to other European countries, the cost of living is pretty high, but it's not the most expensive place to live in the world. To live peacefully in the city of Dublin, you need more money than in other parts of the country. Many people often compare the cost of living in Dublin to that of London. In Dublin, rents have been going up for a few years now. This may be because businesses are leaving the UK after Brexit. However, it is important to note that expats typically hold well-paid jobs, as they must demonstrate a certain level of skill to obtain work permits. This means that people coming to Ireland for work shouldn't have a hard time making ends meet. Living happily in Ireland is estimated to cost around $3,000 a month for a single person. 5th place, Hong Kong, Singapore has dropped to 5th place in the world rankings for cost of living, down 1 spot from 4th place. It is still one of the 10 most expensive places for expats to live. At the moment, the average monthly cost of living for a single person is around $2,800. Singapore's lack of land and natural resources is a big part of the reason why the cost of living there is so high. Because of this, Singapore needs food, oil, water, and other things from other countries. Another reason for the high cost of living is that there aren't enough places to live. To build new homes for its growing population, this tiny island nation depends on foreign workers. Singapore still holds the top ranking in Asia for safety, quality of life and high salaries. Iceland is number 6. In recent years, this Nordic island has become a popular place for nature fans and travel bloggers from the millennial generation to visit. It has a pretty high cost of living, but it's not because of housing. In fact, you can rent a house for less than half of what it would cost in New York. The food is very expensive. You'll have to spend a lot of money on groceries. Due to its isolation from the rest of Europe and limited arable land, the country relies heavily on food imports, resulting in increased prices. The cost of living in this country is usually around $4,600 a month. There is an average 13.7% difference in the cost of living between the US and Iceland. Number 7. These are the Bahamas. The Bahamas is one of the most famous and expensive island nations in the Caribbean. It's mostly a tourist destination, but it's still a great place to live. Many wealthy people choose to live here despite the high cost of living because it has many tax breaks and banking options. However, since there is no income tax, the government makes its money by taxing imported goods, which can make the price of everyday groceries go through the roof. At the moment, the average cost of living in this island nation for a single person is about $3,900. Housing in the country is also on the more expensive side of average, though you can still find good deals based on the type and location of housing you choose. Luxembourg comes in 8. Luxembourg is known for having a high GDP per person, great pay, and tax breaks. It is also the 6th smallest country in Europe and borders France, Belgium, and Germany. The cost of living is very high there. The average monthly cost of living in this country is estimated to be around $3,900 for a single person. The main reason for the high cost of living is that there aren't enough homes in the country. The high cost of living is attributed to various factors, such as increased population in the area, insufficient construction of new homes, and rising home prices. At the very least, a one-bedroom rental costs about $1,800 a month on average. Number 9, Switzerland, as you might expect, is one of the most expensive places to live. If you've ever been there, you know how expensive it is. The country is very expensive when it comes to food, drinks, lodging, clothes, restaurants, health insurance, and pretty much everything else you need. Many people often compare the prices of food and drinks in Switzerland to those in other countries, finding them to be outrageously high. However, average wages keep up with this high cost of living, giving Swiss people a pretty good amount of purchasing power. The strong Swiss franc makes it more expensive for foreign visitors to buy the currency. For living costs, a single person can expect to pay between 2,500 and 4,000 Swiss francs a month. 10th number, Norway. The average cost of life for one person each month is about $3,000. It's very expensive to eat out and buy food. Sometimes, things like car fares are twice as much as they are in the rest of Europe. It has a high value-added tax rate of 25%, which makes most everyday costs more expensive. On the other hand, food has a lower tax rate of 15%, but is still considered expensive. On the plus side, the government pays for education, healthcare, and transportation in Norway. Most Norwegians in food service, education, and other fields make good money. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to get more great videos.